Welcome, everybody, to the Michigan Women's Hockey Coaches Show live from Regents Field. And just trying to refresh everything, make sure we are indeed live and going, and it does look like that, so perfect. This show, we're going to recap this past weekend versus Adrian. Then we're going to take a look ahead to this week at Penn State. So let's just make sure that everything is being heard out there. And I believe we're doing all right. Perfect. All right. So we'll bring... hello, Coach Tribbiano. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
I'm doing very, very well, as we'll get you up there and then pull this down. So taking a look this past weekend, we were number 6 Michigan, did a home-and-home series versus number 3 Adrian. It started off Saturday night at Adrian. There was no scoring in the first. Apparently I have to cough, as that's really professional there. There was no scoring in first. Adrian was able to take the lead at 3:53 in the second towards the end of Michigan's first of 2 penalty kills. Stitt scored her 8th of the year with the assist to Villiard and Turnbull. Adrian was able to hold Michigan to just 8 shots in the first 2 periods. What did Adrian do so well to kind of stymie Michigan's shot potential in the first couple periods there?
They're definitely the best team we've seen all season, and we knew that going into the game on Saturday. Playing at Adrian's always difficult because it's just a different environment. A lot of our players had never played there before. So they kept their feet moving. They played hard, which we expected. They're always a really tough opponent to play. Ultimately, they held us to 8 shots. I would have loved to get more and test their goaltending a little bit, but it is what it is. We knew they were going to be a fast, physical team. In terms of size, we definitely have the advantage, but they were able to move their feet and take advantage of us.
So Michigan continued to battle hard, and the team had some really great chances, especially in the third. Lindahl had a breakaway that really looked like it was going to go in, but Burt made some really good saves. What did you say to the team to really get them cranked up for the third?
The third period looked good. The first 2 periods we were a little flat and on our heels.
Yeah. And
we made some adjustments on the bench in the third period, and that definitely showed. Unfortunately, we couldn't capitalize, but we learned from it, and we'll talk about Sunday's game, but there was definitely a difference between the first 2 periods and the third.
Fair enough. And let me pull that out. Okay. All right. So taking a look at that then. This past Sunday at 4 o'clock, Michigan welcomed in Adrian to Yost Ice Arena for the second half of the home-and-home. The total shots on goal were a bit closer. Adrian still outshot Michigan 37-19. Is that something you're ever worried about, kind of the shots on goal? Are you more worried about quality versus quantity, or is that even something you look at when you're looking back at a game?
It's something we do look at. If we're talking about our team, the way we're built, we've never really been one to shoot the puck a lot. It's something that we try to emphasize and we try to work on. And we'll continue to do that because the more shots we take on net, the more opportunities we'll have to score.
Indeed.
I'm glad that we were able to get more pucks on the net on Sunday. But ultimately it wasn't enough. So.
Yeah. Michigan scored first in the game. Lindahl put in her 8th goal on a beautiful breakaway. Swanson set her up, and Malashevsky got the assist as well. Michigan was able to hold on to that lead until late in the third with 3 minutes, 30 seconds left to go in the game. Wood tied the game for Adrian with Parent and Somolinsky on the assist. Then with 1 minute, 15 seconds later, Adrian took the lead on the goal by Makaro from Pichet and Wiltshire. It seemed like Adrian caused a lot of chaos for Michigan, especially in their own end in the third. What did they do to really put us back on our heels in that third period?
They just beat us to battles. I think, looking back now, there's some adjustments that we should have made as a coaching staff, and we're going to learn from that.
Sure.
But, having 2 penalties in the last several minutes of a game and having to penalty kill. It doesn't help, especially
Indeed.
when the players that we need at the end of the game typically are on the penalty kill. So
Sure, yeah.
it was allocation of resources, and yeah, it sucks to lose that way.
Yeah,
honestly,
yeah.
like there's no other way to say it. Like
Yeah.
I think everybody thought we were gonna win until 3 minutes 30 seconds left in the game,
Yeah.
and then it was just a lot of emotion. But like I said, we're gonna learn from it. We're gonna move on. I had a conversation with a couple of our players
Yeah.
on Monday before practice just to make sure we're all on the same page,
Indeed.
because it is frustrating. Because we were leading that game most of the game
Yes.
until the last 3.5 minutes. So it's something that we'll remember. We'll focus on our game management as a coaching staff, and move on. And if we find ourselves in situations again like that, we're now better prepared for that. So in the national tournament or CCWJ tournament, we've been in situations like that.
Yes. Yes.
So it was a good learning experience, and the rankings came out too. It didn't impact us with the rankings, which is good. Obviously, there's games that we really felt we should have won that Sunday game for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm thankful that it didn't impact us too much in the rankings, but yeah, definitely a learning experience for everybody.
I certainly feel like the past couple of years, last year, and even more so this year, you've been in those games more with Adrian,
Yes.
though, than, kind of the past 6 years before that, where Adrian really was a buzzsaw you ran into. Now it's Michigan's competing and playing till the very end. And Sunday was just a game of full 60-minute games
Yeah.
causing issues, but that's okay.
Yes.
I've
Saw a
blanked,
lot of similarities.
yeah, I blanked out the entire second half of the Lions game from my memory,
Yes,
so
me
we'll
too.
just move on from that. Adrian iced the game with an empty net goal with 12 seconds left. Overall thoughts on the weekend? Anything else you want to kind of put in on the weekend, or
I think
just learn what you can and get it out of
our
there?
effort was there.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if anything, we learned that we can compete. We're making some changes. Not only like game management from the coaching staff, but also with our lines
Yeah.
and how we want to approach games. So I think everybody learned a lot. It definitely hurts, but ultimately, if our end goal is to make the CCWHA tournament and ACHA national tournament,
Yeah.
we still control our own destiny at this
Absolutely,
point. So
absolutely.
that's something I want to focus on, especially this weekend, is
Yes.
we need to show up at Penn State ready to go.
Yes.
And our game, we'll talk about it later, I know,
Yes,
but
yes.
our games are very close together, within 24
Yes.
hours, so
Yeah.
that's going to be something we take into consideration as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And to be honest with you, that the team should know that they can beat Adrian.
Yes.
Now, I mean, they came that close. It didn't happen, but that's just one more step to go. And it should be that, look, you can play with them and you can win. It's
Right.
just you need everything to happen, right? But, yeah.
Yeah, and something I talked with some of my players about, like this is only my 3rd season as a head coach.
Yes.
I'm learning too.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So we're all kind of learning this together, but at the same time, like I reminded them, like, listen, like I'm new to this too.
Yeah.
I'm learning. Our team dynamic is very, very unique. I
Yeah.
don't think there's really another program like it. So I want to make sure that I'm putting everything I can into practice, lineups, game management,
Yeah.
whatever the team feels that they need,
Yeah.
so that we are successful.
Indeed.
Like it's just making that really clear, but something I want to be more intentional about moving forward.
That makes perfect sense. Speaking of Michigan remaining number 6 in the rankings, how comfortable are you with that number 6 ranking? Top 10 get into nationals, but we all know there can be some chaos in the tournaments that can make things. Obviously, you would like to be higher, but how comfortable are you with that number 6 spot about kind of making sure you get into nationals?
I mean, candidly, everybody wants to be number 1,
Yes, well, of course.
but ultimately, like we talked about, the last ranking is really the only one that matters.
Indeed.
Unless you win the CCWHA League tournament and receive an automatic bid. So it's nice to be in the top 10. And if we're looking at our schedule moving forward, we'll play Dearborn again, who's now ranked number 9.
Yep.
So assuming we can beat them again, that'll be a nice win for us. And then I haven't really looked at the numbers for CCWHA yet, so the different scenarios that could play out, because I haven't really had time. But
Understandable.
the expectation is that we are going to win out the rest of our regular season games, and we really have to,
Yes.
which I think will prepare us really well for the CCWHA tournament.
And speaking of which, let me kind of shift gears a little bit, because I did want to talk about the CCWHA playoffs, because they're less than a month away.
Yes.
So I want to let all the fans know they're going to be back at in Byron at the Crystal Field House again this year. The D1 will start February 23rd. There'll be a wild card game at 4 o'clock and then a wild card game at 7 p.m. On Saturday the 24th, the first D1 semifinal will be at 3 p.m. The second will be at 6 p.m. And the championship game will be on Sunday, February 25th at 3 p.m. If you go to CCWHA D1.acha.hockeytech.com. That's where you can find and purchase tickets. They have a QR code there. You can get your hotels if you want to there. They're going to use, and by the way, if you do a Google search, make sure you get the website with Hockey Tech in it, because I think the old website's still out there. They're going to go a different way with a broadcast this season, so we won't be there to broadcast. We'll be cheering on, but I'm sure they'll find a great broadcast that you'll be able to watch if you can't be there. Are you focused at all on trying to get that top spot and get the bye and have to play Saturday and not Friday, or is it just making sure you're in the top 3 of the East pod to get into the CCWHA tournament? Like, how concerned are you about getting that top spot?
Not really.
Yeah.
Honestly, what we're focused on is this upcoming weekend, knowing that there are 2 CCWHA games, and 2 years ago we went to Penn State and split. So
Yep, absolutely.
we really need to come out firing.
Yes.
And I think everybody realizes that, especially those that were around 2 years ago.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, Penn State's a good team. They're not in the top 15 in terms of the rankings, but they are a well-rounded program, and we need to be prepared, and we need to take control right off the bat.
Absolutely. If you don't have your best game, they will definitely make you pay, as happened 2 years ago when
Yes.
getting right off the bus, going on to the rink, and then
Yeah.
a game that we thought we had and then slipped away. Speaking of Penn State, so Michigan does travel to Penn State this weekend, and for a pair of games, it's going to be on Friday at 9:15 p.m. and then Saturday at 8:30 a.m. We're going to do our best to broadcast both of those games. They'll both be, we heard from Penn State, they're both going to be in the community rink. We've had a little bit of issues with internet there 2 years ago, so worst case, we'll record the games and put them up afterwards. Hopefully we'll have an audio broadcast, so if you can't get the video, but check that out. A little bit about Penn State. Michigan's obviously 12-3-1 now. Penn State is 8-10-0. They swept D2 Delaware, University of Amherst, Rhode Island, as well as Davenport. They split the series versus Concordia, and they were swept by Michigan Dearborn, Michigan State, Adrian, and Miami. Penn State has a negative 20 goal differential, whereas Michigan has a plus 32 on the goal differential. On paper, Michigan should beat Penn State. But again, they've surprised us before. What does this team have to do to make sure they get these 2 huge CCWHA wins this weekend?
We need to bring our A game. We have to be prepared, both mentally and physically. So we can't go in with the expectation of just showing up is going to win us the game.
Absolutely.
So that's how we've prefaced this week of practice. And yeah, I think coming off of the series with Adrian, everybody's really dialed in.
Absolutely.
Including myself. And now that I'm feeling 100% too, it definitely helps.
No doubt.
So,
Not being sick is huge,
Yeah.
definitely. As I was talking a little bit about, you were just on the ACHA Power Play
I was, yes.
radio show. How did that go? I haven't got a chance to listen to it. It's on my bucket list.
Yep.
I'll probably listen to it driving out tomorrow. But how did that come about, and how was it?
So Lou sent me an email. Oh my gosh, it was sort of last minute where he emailed me like, "Hey,
Sure.
I know it's last minute, but would you be available?" And then I got back to him, and then he provided a couple of times, and then I just basically confirmed it with him on Tuesday.
Nice.
So I hopped in there. Tuesdays are, or it's my night off
Yeah.
from our practices, but yeah, it went well. He had some really good questions. He gave Arbor Broadcasting a shout out too.
Oh, that's super
which is
sweet.
super awesome.
No, I
but-
was going to listen to it
Yeah.
anyway, but now I absolutely have
yeah.
to. So.
So he gave Arbor Broadcasting a shout out. He had some really good questions for me, and it's interesting to see like different platforms and I can't remember the platform he used, but it was like maybe like Streambox or something.
Sure, yeah.
Like I was in like a waiting room and then he let me in.
Nice.
It was kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it was cool because it was live and it was really last minute though. So I like shared it with like my mom, my cousins. I'm like, hey, like if you have time, and I also sent it to Ned because obviously he's recovering and he's like, oh, I'm at dinner. I was like, I'm so sorry. It's
Yeah.
also Coach Ned's birthday tomorrow.
Oh,
So I want to
yeah.
give a shout out to Coach Ned. He won't be able to join us for Penn State, but it's his birthday tomorrow. So
Yeah, we're really bummed. He let us know that he is recovering. He had that hip surgery, so he won't be able to make it out to Penn State. You're stuck with just me on the play-by-play. I know I miss Coach Ned on there as well, but we'll soldier on through and make that happen and hopefully have him back for the Concordia game. So that's great. Well, it's fantastic getting out there and having to deal with folks other than just me asking you a bunch of questions and put that out
yeah,
there.
it's definitely different, but I really enjoy doing these types of things. So I appreciate the time that you put in to prepare all this every week.
Oh, it's my pleasure. We talked a little bit about the Prospect Skate last
Yes.
show, but that did get put out on social media yesterday.
It did, yes.
So again, it is March 30th from 11 a.m. to 12:20 at Yost, followed by a question and answer and a campus tour. Anything else you want to mention or anything else you want to reiterate from last week about that Prospect Skate?
So the interest link is live now.
Nice.
Within the interest link, it is noted that submitting the interest form does not guarantee you a spot.
Sure, yeah.
I think we've got probably around 15 players that have submitted inquiries so far, which is exciting.
yeah.
Some players that haven't been on my radar, so it'll be, I guess it'll be a little while before I really have an understanding of who we want to extend invitations to.
Yeah.
And that's just sort of our recruiting process. It's lengthy, but for the right student, I think it's definitely worth it.
Absolutely.
We are prioritizing juniors and seniors that have applied to Michigan, either early action or regular decision. So if a student has applied early action and they've been admitted, they let me know through the form. If they've applied early action and have been deferred, they let me know in the form. If they've applied regular decision and haven't heard back yet, they let me know. So if anybody has any questions on that, they can feel free to reach out. But yeah, it's really exciting to see just the momentum
Yeah.
with our program, and our social media team has done a phenomenal job. And just the amount
Absolutely.
of students that I talk to that I guess a question that I ask them is like, how did you find out about our program?
Yeah, indeed.
Which for me, like my path to Michigan was very random, I guess. Like I never thought I would end up here,
Yeah.
especially when growing up a Michigan State fan. So it's something that I ask them, and most of them say social media,
Oh, I don't doubt that.
which is really cool because it's just, I mean, we're almost at 10,000 followers on Instagram. So
That is
we're planning
impressive.
we're planning a really big post, and we have more followers than some of the women's varsity programs at Michigan, which is kind of cool.
Absolutely.
But it shows that there's interest and there's demand, and it's only going to help our recruiting too.
Yeah, well, fantastic work for the social
So
media
shout
team.
out Sophie Williams and Carly.
Absolutely, they do a wonderful job. They, I endeavor to someday be half as good as they are. So,
Yeah, they're great.
And then finally, just a kind of final question, unless you had anything else to mention. So 6-hour bus ride, all right, going on Friday. What is your go-to for spending time in the bus? What do you typically do?
I'm
to
probably
try
gonna
and
work.
take that? You're going to work. That makes sense. That makes
And try
sense.
and get through some emails. I have a couple calls I have to join. Unfortunately, Coach Joe can't make the trip, and Ned won't be joining us, so it'll be just me. So I'll have a lot of time to sit and think about the games and focus on work because that pays the bills.
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm going to be focusing on. And then Friday's also my birthday, so we'll see what happens.
So you have Coach Ned's birthday tomorrow. Your
Yes.
birthday, on Friday.
Yep.
Fair enough. I will. So when I forget to mention that on the broadcast Friday, everyone needs to tease me.
Yep.
So
That's
happy early
okay.
birthday! I will forget,
Thank you.
and I will do my best to
Yeah, I
remember.
can't believe it's like basically February. It's like
And then the normal admissions is last deadline is tomorrow as well. Correct?
last deadline is tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. your time. So if you're in Pacific Standard Time, it would be Pacific Standard Time. If you're in Mountain Time, it'd be 11:59 p.m. Mountain Time. And I'm glad they clarified that because
Yes.
I've gotten a couple inquiries from potential students, and I've been scrambling because, like, have you applied? If not, like, you have to apply no later than tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. your time. So, yeah, it's exciting because it means that decisions will start coming out. But also, if you look at the top 10 rankings, and this is something I talked about, I think on the power play yesterday, I think even within ACHA, we're probably one of the only schools that doesn't have rolling admissions. And admissions requires a lot of patience at Michigan.
Sure, yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see sort of what happens. But a lot of students have told me that Michigan is their top, and they're really just waiting to hear back, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that means there's a lot of interest in our program and growing our program. But at the same time, you know, it's crazy how long they have to wait.
Sure, people have to have their secondary plans and maybe have to
Yes.
make decisions like
Yep.
that because they haven't heard back.
So I preface them, I prepare them. You know, it does require a lot of patience, but for the right student,
Yeah.
I think it really, really is worth it. So
Absolutely. Well, amazing education first and foremost, and then pretty darn good hockey team they can
Yeah.
join as well. So make sure if you're interested and haven't applied for next year, make sure you get that in by 11:59 your local time. Anything else you want to mention before? I know you have a really busy evening.
I do. So I just wanted to quickly mention something. So
Yeah.
a couple of dates coming up. So February 1st, which is tomorrow, 11:59 p.m. your time, is the regular decision and transfer applicant deadline.
Excellent.
So
Yep.
that's for fall 2024 start. March 30th, which is a Saturday, is our prospect skate. So that's also on our calendar. Something that's not on our team calendar, but is part of what I do over the summer. So I work for this company called Hockey Intelligence. A couple of our players also helped out last summer.
Yeah.
So we have Hockey Intelligence has an all-girls skills camp, skills clinic
Fantastic.
at the Ann Arbor Ice Cube, July 15th through the 19th, and I will be leading that. And I think we should have some of our current players helping out in that camp as well. And I believe it's from 6 to 7:50, or it's in the evening each day that week. And then we also have our Buddy's Pizza fundraiser on July 16th, which is a Tuesday.
For that camp, is that for people who, like, what skill level are you looking for? Are you looking for people who are kind of newbies? Or are you looking for people who have played some house hockey and things? What are
Yeah,
you
it's a
looking
great
for
question. It's all skills. So what we'll do is separate the players based on their skill level. And it's not any evaluation camp from me.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
affiliated with our program at all, but it is an opportunity for those that might be looking for something over the summer and get experience in front of and working with college athletes and college coaches. It is an opportunity to do that. And this is my third year in a row running the camp.
there? Yeah.
So I'm really excited to be able to do it again, and every year it seems to grow. So
That's fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. It's just nice to see that interaction and get people able to learn the game and come
Definitely.
up and things of that nature. And I would love to put together, I mentioned it to you once, but I'd love to put together a equipment fundraiser at some
Yes.
point in time for people who, because hockey is such an amazing game, but if you don't have the family background in it,
Right.
it's so hard for even upper middle class parents to drop that much on equipment to get to learn this game on something that you're like, is my kid gonna like this or not?
Exactly.
So it'd be really nice to have a fundraiser. I think the CCWHA, we could do it well there, so people can try the game, and we
Right.
can try and at least remove that barrier to the game.
Yeah, there's a huge barrier to entry for hockey
Yeah.
in general,
Yeah.
and that's something that I think a lot of people are starting to talk about because
Yeah.
you realize why some places do well and some places don't do well
Yes.
in terms of hockey. So,
Yes.
yeah, we can definitely chat about that a little more.
So I've said it
Very
here, so now
interesting.
you can all hold me accountable as well. But we want to remove all the barriers we can, make hockey truly for everyone, and especially all those young women out there who dream of maybe putting on the Block M. We'd love to, get that going and have them experience this fantastic game. Anything else at this moment in time?
I don't think so. I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to this weekend.
Absolutely.
I'm happy that you all are able to make the trip. We've got a couple more practices this week, including practice tonight. So we're prepared for that. And yeah, I can't believe that it's
Already
February.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Wow.
unbelievable.
I feel like we were just here in August.
I had one other question. So it's pretty much all CCWHA opponents from here on out, so every game really matters. The Lake Superior State, is that the final two games? Is that official league games? Would that count towards the league total?
Those
or
are
is that
not official league games.
Hence why I
So,
asked, okay.
Yes, that's a great point. And our senior night is Saturday, February 17th.
February 17th. Make
Yes.
sure you come out, support the seniors, and so Michigan's going to have to take care of a lot of business before the Lake State
Yep.
Series to make sure top three in each pod go. Number one seed gets a bye. The other two get to play the wild card. So Michigan's going to want to be top three going in there. So we want to thank Regents Field. Thank you so much. It's always wonderful to get there. By the way, if you come in, they're hanging an amazing signed jersey down there by the skee ball. So check that out if you
It's
come
beautiful.
in. Oh, it's absolutely great. And thank you to the team for signing that. We want to thank all the amazing fans who came out to cheer on the team both on Saturday and Sunday's games. And we want to thank Adrian for broadcasting on Saturday when we were not allowed. That way all of you could still see the game. Anyone else you want to thank?
No, just everybody that's been involved. It's been incredible, and we're not done yet. So
Absolutely. Thank you to you for watching, for having interest in the team. Hopefully we see you at State College. If we don't, hopefully you'll watch. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, everyone. Take care, and see you from Happy Valley.